You have been holding your breath for longer than you realize, not the shallow kind of holding, where you forget to exhale after a stressful moment. This is the deeper kind, the kind that lives in your chest, like a stone that arrived so gradually you stopped noticing its weight. Somewhere in the last several weeks, your body made a quiet decision to brace. Your shoulders climbed toward your ears and stayed there, your jaw tightened at night. You woke up at 3 a.m., for no reason you could name, just lying there in the dark with a feeling that something was about to shift, something you could not locate, could not label, could not rush. That feeling was not anxiety. It was anticipation, wearing anxiety's clothes. What you are about to understand is this. There is a single, astronomical event, happening once in your lifetime, and never again in Taurus, that has been pressing against your nervous system for weeks without your permission. You are going to learn exactly what that pressure is, where it comes from, and what it has been trying to organize inside your love life, your sense of worth, and your relationship to permanence. And after you understand the mechanics of what is happening, you are going to know precisely what to do with the 72-hour window surrounding April the 24th at 9:58 p.m. Eastern Time, because this is not a moment to observe passively. Stay with this. Venus rules Taurus. This is not metaphor, it is mechanical. In the language of astrology, a planet in its home sign operates at full signal strength, the way a radio transmitter performs best when there is no interference on the frequency. Venus governs love, beauty, value, sensory pleasure, financial worth, and the architecture of what you choose to keep in your life. When Venus transits Taurus, these themes are not merely active, they are amplified, clarified, made visceral. You feel them in your body before you understand them in your mind. Uranus entered Taurus in May 2018 and will leave for Gemini in 2026. In the roughly 7-year arc of this transit, Uranus, the planet of rupture, revelation, sudden reorganization, has been systematically dismantling outdated structures around money, land, food systems, bodily autonomy, and relationship stability. Every Venus-Uranus conjunction that occurred during this window carried the signature of that dismantling. But April the 24th, 2026, at 9:58 p.m. Eastern, is the last time Venus will conjoin Uranus in Taurus until approximately 2095. You will not be here for the next one, neither will anyone you know. A conjunction means two celestial bodies occupying the same degree of the same sign simultaneously. The orb of this meeting is 0 degrees. They are fused. Venus at approximately 26 degrees Taurus, Uranus at 26 degrees Taurus. When two planets conjoin, their energies do not merely coexist. They merge into a single broadcast. Whatever Venus rules, love, worth, beauty, financial value, the body as a site of pleasure and safety, receives a direct surge of Uranian electricity. Not a gentle nudge, a voltage spike. Uranus has a 84-year orbital cycle. Venus conjuncts it roughly once every 18 months, but only in Taurus every 84 years. The last Venus-Uranus conjunction in Taurus occurred in 1942, during a period of global rupture, forced migration, and the violent dismantling of what people thought was permanent. Homes were lost. Borders were redrawn. Relationships were severed by circumstance rather than choice. The world was being forcibly reorganized, and the question underneath all of it was, what do you truly value when everything you built can be taken overnight? That is the same question this conjunction is asking you now, but the battlefield has moved inward. The forced reorganization this time is not geopolitical. It is relational. It is financial. It is the private architecture of your self-worth. This is permanent. Your body has known something was coming before your mind gave it language. If you have experienced a low hum of restlessness in your chest, not pain, but pressure, like a frequency running just below audible, that is the conjunction building. The vagus nerve, which governs your body's sense of safety and social connection, is exquisitely sensitive to shifts in relational certainty. When the structures around love and worth become unstable, the vagus nerve registers it before the conscious mind does. You may have felt this as unexplained fatigue around 4 to 6 p.m., a window when cortisol naturally drops and the nervous system loses its daytime scaffolding. You may have noticed your throat tightening when you try to say something honest to someone you love. Your throat is not betraying you. It is telling you that the words you need to say carry more weight than usual right now, and your body is asking you to be sure before you speak them. The base of your skull, just where it meets the neck, may have been carrying tension for weeks. That is the body storing the unasked questions you have been postponing. None of this is malfunction. This is your nervous system preparing for a threshold. The people most directly affected by this final Venus-Uranus conjunction in Taurus are not sorted neatly by sun sign alone. They are sorted by where they are standing in their own relational story. But the four groups carrying the heaviest charge right now are Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. If your sun, moon, or rising is in Taurus, this conjunction is landing directly on your identity. Uranus has been crossing your chart for 7 years, progressively destabilizing everything you built your sense of self around: your financial security, your physical routines, your primary relationships. Venus joining Uranus now in your sign is not an additional disruption. It is the closing argument of a 7-year trial. You have been asked, repeatedly, whether the life you built around stability was built around genuine values or around the avoidance of change. You know the answer. The unresolved question this event is targeting in you is not, should I change? You already know that. The question is whether you are willing to stop performing stability for people who have not earned your honesty. You are standing at the edge of saying something true that cannot be unsaid. That is the crossroads. And the only direction forward is through it. Moving now to Scorpio, the sign directly across the zodiac from Taurus, where this conjunction lands in the relationship house. Scorpio has been watching the Uranus in Taurus transit dismantle the structures of other people's lives, and privately wondering when the reorganization would arrive in their own partnerships. It has arrived. What Scorpio carries is the psychological experience of knowing something is over before anyone has said it aloud, and carrying that knowledge alone, in the body, for months. The specific unresolved question targeting Scorpio now is about power within intimacy, whether the control you maintain over your own vulnerability is protecting you or imprisoning you. The crossroads is this: the relationship that feels most stable right now may be stable only because you have never fully arrived inside it, and this conjunction is the last invitation to choose full presence over managed distance. The bridge from Scorpio to Leo is the theme of visibility, and Leo is experiencing this conjunction as a financial and creative reckoning. Leo's fixed nature means they hold on long after the evidence for letting go has mounted. The Uranus transit through their Taurus sector has been quietly disrupting income streams, creative collaborations, and the material structures that fund their self-expression. What Leo has been living inside psychologically is a grief that feels embarrassing, the grief of a version of themselves they invested in heavily and cannot get returns on anymore. The unresolved question is not whether to rebuild, but whether to grieve openly or keep performing momentum to avoid the appearance of failure. The crossroads, the rebuilding you are capable of, is only accessible on the other side of admitting to yourself first what did not work and why. Aquarius closes this 4-part chord. Aquarius rules the axis of Taurus's most hidden sector, the psychological basement, the unconscious patterns, the invisible agreements made in childhood about what love costs and what it requires. The Venus-Uranus conjunction in Taurus activates this hidden sector for Aquarius, like a light switched on in a room that has been dark for years. What Aquarius has been living inside is an inexplicable emotional fatigue, not from doing too much, but from maintaining subconscious beliefs about love and worth that require enormous energy to sustain. The unresolved question is about inheritance. Which emotional patterns did you receive from your earliest attachment figures? And which of those patterns are you still running, as if they were your own chosen code? The crossroads is this: you cannot build the partnership you say you want while operating on the relational software you downloaded before you were old enough to consent to it. This conjunction is the update prompt. You can keep clicking Remind Me Later, but this is the last time this particular window opens. What not to do in the 72 hours surrounding April the 24th is as important as what to do. Do not issue ultimatums, not because ultimatums are always wrong, but because the electrical charge of this conjunction makes words land with disproportionate permanence. A conversation you intend as a pressure release can calcify into a permanent rupture under this sky. The practical alternative is to write what you would say, let it sit overnight, and speak only what remains true in the morning. Do not make large financial decisions between April 23rd and April 26th, especially decisions driven by the desire to feel more secure. Uranus in Venus's domain specifically punishes grasping, and the move that feels like it will stabilize your worth will more likely expose an instability you have not yet addressed. The alternative is to identify the decision and set it aside for 72 hours without judging yourself for the delay. Do not force a relationship resolution that the other person is not ready for. Uranus conjunct Venus in a fixed sign creates the illusion that speed equals courage, but what it actually creates is incomplete closures that require expensive reopening later. Clarity delivered before the other person is receptive is not clarity, it is pressure. And do not numb the physical sensations described earlier with distraction, alcohol, overwork, or excessive social stimulation. Your body is processing something important in real time. The alternative is to give it 10 minutes of stillness at the peak of the conjunction and let it complete its own process. The ritual for this conjunction is specific and sequential. On April 24th, between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. Eastern Time, bracketing the exact peak of the conjunction at 9:58 p.m., find a physical space where you will not be interrupted. This is not about ceremony for ceremony's sake. This is about creating the conditions for your nervous system to process what it has been accumulating. Bring something that represents a relationship or financial situation that has been unresolved. This can be an object, a written name on paper, a photograph. The physical anchor serves the functional purpose of making the abstract concrete, enough for your nervous system to work with. Sit with it in silence for 7 minutes. Not meditation, just presence with the unresolved thing. Notice where in your body the weight of it lives. Name that location silently. The naming is not symbolic. It is the beginning of nervous system regulation. Because the body releases tension, it can locate more effectively than tension that remains unlocated. After 7 minutes, write one sentence, not a decision, not a resolution, just the honest name of what you are being asked to face. One sentence: set the object down, walk to a sink, and run cold water over your wrists for 30 seconds. The cold water activates the dive reflex, slowing the heart rate and moving the nervous system from activation toward integration. This is the transition from the ritual's pressure to the ritual's purpose. What the ritual transforms is this: the free-floating anticipatory anxiety of something is about to change, becomes the grounded clarity of here is what I am being asked to decide, and I am capable of deciding it. What has been building in you through these weeks is not disorder, it is refinement. There is a metallurgical process called annealing, where metal is heated to a precise temperature and then cooled slowly, not to soften it, but to relieve the internal stresses that have been accumulating inside its structure, stresses that make it brittle and prone to fracture under pressure. The heat does not damage the metal. The heat is the process. What has been pressing against your chest, tightening your jaw at 3 a.m., making your voice catch before you say the true thing, that is the heat of annealing. You have been in the furnace long enough for the internal stresses to surface. The cooling that follows the peak of this conjunction on April 24th is not the end of the work. It is the completion of a phase that makes the next phase possible. Here is what has been true this entire time. You were not falling apart. You were being made more precise. The intensity you have been carrying is not evidence of damage. It is evidence of capacity. The people who feel nothing at thresholds like this are not the resilient ones. They are the ones who have learned to stay far enough from the edge that the edge never asks anything of them. You are here, in this, which means you have already made the harder choice. The conjunction does not require you to be ready. It requires you to be willing. You already are. If someone in your life has been carrying unexplained weight this week, feeling the pressure without having the language for it, share this with them as a specific act of care, not as content, as recognition. And if you want to be here for what comes next in this cycle, as Uranus moves into Gemini and begins reorganizing the structures of how we think and speak and learn, the next piece is already being prepared. Subscribe not as a transaction, but as a way of staying in the conversation that this moment opened. The threshold is real. You are ready.